every man wants you to detach. Detachment, it's a word that carries weight and misunderstanding. When you hear it, you might think of indifference or coldness, but that's not what this is about. Detachment is not about abandoning care, it's about redefining it. It's about freeing yourself from emotional chains, from dependence on external validation, and from the endless pursuit of others' expectations. Emotional independence is the foundation of a strong, meaningful life. It's the ability to find fulfillment and self-worth within yourself rather than seeking it from external sources. When you rely on others for validation, you hand over control of your emotions and self-perception to people who may not fully understand or appreciate your value. This dependency creates a fragile existence where your happiness and sense of worth fluctuate based on the actions, opinions, or presence of others. Emotional independence, on the other hand, is about reclaiming that power and anchoring your identity in something unshakable, your own inner strength and self-awareness. Many people confuse emotional independence with detachment in the sense of indifference or apathy, but they are fundamentally different. Emotional independence does not mean you stop caring about others or that you isolate yourself from meaningful relationships. Rather, it's about approaching relationships from a place of completeness. It means you recognize that while others can add joy, companionship, and support to your life, they are not the source of your happiness or your sense of self. This shift in perspective transforms how you engage with the world. When you are emotionally independent, you stop viewing relationships as transactions. You no longer approach people with the silent expectation that they must fulfill your needs, provide constant reassurance, or make you feel whole. Instead, you view relationships as opportunities to share your completeness with someone else. This changes the dynamic entirely, creating connections that are based on mutual respect and genuine affection rather than neediness or dependency. It's important to understand that emotional independence is not something you achieve overnight. It's a process, one that requires self-reflection, practice, and often unlearning deeply ingrained habits of seeking external validation. For many people, the root of emotional dependence lies in early experiences. As children, we are naturally dependent on caregivers for love, approval, and a sense of safety. Over time, these needs can carry over into adulthood, manifesting as a reliance on others to feel valued or secure. Emotional independence involves recognizing these patterns and actively working to break free from them. One of the first steps in this journey is learning to validate yourself. This means giving yourself the recognition and appreciation you might usually seek from others. Instead of waiting for someone to compliment your achievements or acknowledge your efforts, take a moment to celebrate them yourself. When you do something well, acknowledge it internally and take pride in your growth. This practice not only builds self-confidence, but also reduces the emotional toll of seeking and not always receiving external praise. Another crucial aspect of emotional independence is developing a strong sense of identity. When you know who you are, your values, your strengths, your goals, you are less likely to lose yourself in the opinions or expectations of others. This doesn't mean you won't face moments of doubt or insecurity, but it does mean you'll have a solid foundation to return to. A clear sense of self acts as an anchor, keeping you steady even when relationships or circumstances are uncertain. Emotional independence also involves setting boundaries. These are not walls meant to shut people out, but rather guidelines that protect your well-being and ensure your relationships remain healthy. For example, if someone's behavior consistently makes you feel undervalued or anxious, emotional independence gives you the strength to address the issue or distance yourself if necessary. It's not about being unkind or confrontational. It's about respecting yourself enough to prioritize your mental and emotional health. One of the most empowering aspects of emotional independence is how it changes your response to challenges and setbacks in relationships. When you are emotionally dependent, a disagreement, rejection, or even a lack of attention from someone can feel devastating. It can shake your sense of worth and leave you questioning your value. But when you are emotionally independent, you are able to see these situations in a different light. You understand that another person's actions or opinions do not define you. Instead of internalizing their behavior, you view it as a reflection of their own experiences or choices, not a measure of your worth. This perspective allows you to approach relationships with a sense of confidence and balance. You are able to give and receive love freely without the fear of losing yourself in the process. You are not afraid to express your needs or to walk away from situations that are no longer healthy. Emotional independence gives you the courage to prioritize your own well-being while still caring deeply for others. It's also worth noting that emotional independence can inspire others. When you carry yourself with confidence and self-assurance, you set an example for those around you. You show them that it's possible to be both strong and compassionate, both independent and deeply connected. This kind of presence is magnetic. It draws people to you not out of necessity, but out of genuine admiration and respect. Cultivating emotional independence is a journey, one that requires patience and commitment. There will be times when you slip back into old habits of seeking external validation, and that's okay. What matters is recognizing those moments and gently redirecting yourself towards self-reliance. Over time, this practice will become second nature, and you'll find a profound sense of peace and fulfillment in knowing that your happiness and worth come from within. In the end, emotional independence is not about rejecting relationships or distancing yourself from others. It's about creating a solid foundation within yourself so that you can engage with the world from a place of strength, confidence, and authenticity. It's about being whole on your own and allowing that wholeness to enhance your connections rather than define them. When you achieve this, you not only transform your own life, but also bring a deeper sense of harmony and respect to every relationship you are a part of. Letting go of expectations is one of the most liberating yet challenging practices you can adopt. Expectations often feel natural and inevitable. They come from our hopes, experiences, and even societal norms. We grow up believing that if we meet certain standards, say the right things, or behave in specific ways, we will be rewarded with approval, love, and success. However, the reality is that expectations are a double-edged sword. While they can motivate us to aim high, they can also lead to disappointment, frustration, and even bitterness when reality doesn't align with what we envision. The issue with expectations lies not in having goals or desires, but in tying your emotional well-being to their fulfillment. When you expect something from others or from life, you create a mental contract that the world has not necessarily agreed to. You imagine scenarios, project outcomes, and build a narrative in your mind that reality may or may not fulfill. This disconnect between what you expect and what actually happens often results in unnecessary suffering. Letting go of expectations doesn't mean giving up on hopes or aspirations. It means releasing the grip of attachment to a specific outcome. When you let go of expectations, you free yourself from the need to control things that are beyond your control. Life is unpredictable, and people are complex. You cannot always anticipate how others will act, nor can you guarantee that situations will unfold exactly as you want them to. By clinging to expectations, you set yourself up for disappointment and resentment. You begin to see others not as they are, but as how you want them to be. This distortion creates tension in relationships and prevents you from appreciating what is present in the moment. Letting go of expectations starts with self-awareness. It requires you to identify where your expectations come from and why they hold so much power over you. Often, expectations are rooted in deep-seated fears or insecurities. For example, you might expect constant reassurance from a partner because you fear being unloved or unwanted. You might expect acknowledgement at work because you tie your sense of worth to external recognition. Understanding these underlying motivations allows you to address the real issue rather than projecting your needs onto others. Once you recognize your expectations, the next step is to question their validity. Ask yourself if they are realistic or if they are based on assumptions and ideals. Many expectations stem from societal conditioning rather than personal values. For instance, the belief that certain milestones like marriage, career success, or financial stability must be achieved by a specific age is often a product of societal pressure rather than an authentic personal desire. Letting go of these externally imposed expectations allows you to live a life that aligns with your unique path and priorities. Letting go of expectations does not mean lowering your standards or settling for less. It means shifting your focus from external outcomes to internal growth. Instead of expecting others to behave a certain way, focus on how you can show up authentically in your relationships. Instead of expecting a particular result from a project, concentrate on the effort and intention you bring to it. This shift in perspective transforms your experience from one of control and attachment to one of openness and presence. A powerful aspect of letting go of expectations is learning to embrace uncertainty. Life is full of surprises, and many of its most beautiful moments come from unexpected places. When you release the need for things to go a certain way, you create space for new possibilities to emerge. This openness allows you to adapt to change with grace and to find joy in the unplanned. You begin to see challenges as opportunities for growth rather than as obstacles to your expectations. Letting go of expectations also transforms your relationships. When you stop projecting your desires and assumptions onto others, you allow them to be their authentic selves. This creates a space for genuine connection, free from judgment or pressure. It also enables you to approach conflicts with compassion rather than frustration. Instead of resenting someone for not meeting your expectations, you can have honest conversations about your needs and boundaries. This clarity fosters deeper understanding and respect. Practicing gratitude is another way to help let go of expectations. When you focus on what you already have rather than what you feel you are missing, you shift your mindset from lack to abundance. Gratitude allows you to appreciate the present moment and the people in your life as they are, without constantly wishing for something different. It reminds you that happiness does not come from getting everything you want, but from recognizing the value in what you already have. Letting go of expectations is not a one-time decision, but an ongoing practice. It requires mindfulness and patience, as well as a willingness to confront uncomfortable emotions. There will be times when old habits resurface and you find yourself clinging to an expectation once again. In those moments, remind yourself that letting go is not about giving up, it's about finding freedom. It's about choosing peace over control, acceptance over resistance, and authenticity over pretense. Letting go of expectations allows you to live more fully and authentically. It frees you from the weight of disappointment and the fear of failure. Authenticity is one of the most powerful traits a person can possess, yet it is often misunderstood or undervalued in a world that encourages conformity. To be authentic means to live in alignment with your true self, free from the masks and personas that society often pressures us to wear. It is about embracing who you are at your core, your values, your passions, your strengths, and even your vulnerabilities, and having the courage to express that truth in your daily life. Authenticity is not about perfection or always getting things right. It's about honesty, integrity, and a deep connection to yourself. Many people struggle with authenticity because they fear rejection or judgment. From a young age, we are conditioned to seek approval from others, parents, teachers, peers, and society as a whole. We learn to modify our behavior, tone down our quirks, and hide our flaws to fit into a mold that feels acceptable. Over time, these compromises can lead to a disconnect between who we are and who we present to the world. Living inauthentically might feel safe in the short term, but it often leads to feelings of emptiness, dissatisfaction, and even resentment. When you commit to being authentic, you take a bold step toward reclaiming your life. Authenticity requires self-awareness, the ability to look inward and understand your true motivations, desires, and fears. It means asking yourself difficult questions. What do I truly want? What do I stand for? Am I living in alignment with my values, or am I prioritizing what others expect of me? These questions may not have easy answers, but they are essential for uncovering the layers of conditioning and getting to the heart of who you really are. Being authentic also involves accepting yourself fully, including the parts you might consider imperfect or undesirable. This self-acceptance is not about complacency or refusing to grow. It's about acknowledging that you are a work in progress and finding value in that journey. When you embrace your imperfections, you free yourself from the burden of trying to be someone you're not. You begin to realize that authenticity doesn't require you to be flawless, it simply asks you to be real. One of the greatest benefits of authenticity is the freedom it brings. When you are true to yourself, you no longer feel the need to constantly seek validation or approval from others. You stop wasting energy on trying to fit in or meet unrealistic expectations, and instead you focus on what truly matters to you. This freedom allows you to pursue your goals with clarity and purpose, unencumbered by the fear of what others might think. It also fosters a sense of inner peace, as you no longer feel like you are living a double life or hiding behind a facade. Authenticity also transforms your relationships. When you show up as your true self, you create space for deeper, more meaningful connections. People are drawn to authenticity because it is rare and refreshing in a world filled with pretense. When you are genuine, you invite others to do the same, fostering trust and mutual respect. Authentic relationships are not about pleasing others or pretending to be someone you're not. They are built on honesty, vulnerability, and a shared commitment to growth. However, living authentically is not always easy. It requires courage to go against the grain and to stand firm in your truth, even when it is unpopular or misunderstood. There will be times when your authenticity challenges others, especially if they are used to you conforming to their expectations. Some people may resist or even reject the changes they see in you, but that is a reflection of their own discomfort, not your worth. Authenticity often requires you to set boundaries and to prioritize your well-being over the need to please others. Another challenge of authenticity is the willingness to face vulnerability. Being authentic means allowing yourself to be seen for who you truly are, including your fears, doubts, and insecurities. This can feel risky, as it opens you up to judgment or criticism. However, vulnerability is also a source of incredible strength. When you embrace your vulnerability, you show others that it is okay to be human, to make mistakes, and to grow. This openness not only deepens your own self-awareness, but also inspires others to embrace their own authenticity. To cultivate authenticity, start by practicing mindfulness. Pay attention to your thoughts, feelings, and actions, and notice when you are acting out of alignment with your true self. Are there situations where you feel compelled to conform or hide parts of yourself? Are there relationships where you feel you cannot be honest about your needs or boundaries? By bringing awareness to these patterns, you can begin to make intentional choices that align with your values. Another powerful practice is to surround yourself with people who support and celebrate your authenticity. These are the individuals who encourage you to be yourself, who challenge you to grow, and who stand by you even when you stumble. Authenticity thrives in an environment of trust and acceptance, so seek out relationships that nurture your true self. Ultimately, authenticity is a lifelong journey. It is not about reaching a destination where you have everything figured out. It is about continually choosing to live in alignment with your truth, even as you grow and evolve. Each step you take toward authenticity strengthens your connection to yourself and empowers you to create a life that feels meaningful and fulfilling. In a world that often values conformity over individuality, authenticity is a radical act. It is a declaration that you are enough as you are, and that your unique voice, perspective, and presence have value. By living authentically, you not only transform your own life, but also inspire others to do the same. Authenticity is not just a personal choice, it is a gift to the world, a reminder that our greatest strength lies in being true to ourselves. True emotional independence is one of the most empowering states of being a person can achieve. It is the ability to own your emotions, to navigate life's challenges and triumphs without being overly reliant on external validation, and to cultivate a sense of inner stability that cannot be easily shaken. Emotional independence does not mean shutting yourself off from others or refusing to seek support. It means that your core sense of self remains intact, regardless of how others perceive you or how circumstances unfold. This independence is not a rejection of connection, but an embrace of self-reliance and self-respect. Many people unconsciously tie their emotional well-being to the actions, opinions, or approval of others. They feel happy when someone praises them, hurt when someone criticizes them, and lost when someone withdraws their support or affection. While it's natural to be influenced by the people around you, emotional dependence becomes problematic when it leaves you at the mercy of others' moods, decisions, or behaviors. Living this way often leads to frustration, insecurity, and a constant need for reassurance, as your emotional state becomes a reflection of external circumstances rather than an expression of your inner strength. Achieving emotional independence begins with self-awareness. It requires you to take a step back and examine where you might be placing undue responsibility for your happiness on others. Are you waiting for someone else to make you feel worthy? Do you feel incomplete without a partner or a friend's constant validation? Recognizing these patterns is the first step in breaking free from them. Emotional independence is not about denying your needs, but about understanding that no one else is responsible for meeting them except you. Taking ownership of your emotions is a cornerstone of emotional independence. This means acknowledging that your feelings, while often influenced by external events, ultimately originate within you. When you feel hurt, disappointed, or angry, Those emotions are your own responses to a situation shaped by your thoughts, beliefs, and expectations. By taking responsibility for your emotions, you empower yourself to change your perspective, heal your wounds, and choose responses that align with your values. This shift from blaming others to owning your emotions is transformative and liberating. Developing emotional independence also requires cultivating a strong sense of self. This involves knowing your values, strengths, and boundaries, as well as having a clear vision of the kind of life you want to lead. When you are secure in your identity, you are less likely to be swayed by the opinions or actions of others. You can listen to feedback without losing your confidence and engage in relationships without losing yourself. This inner clarity serves as an anchor, keeping you steady even when external circumstances are turbulent. Another important aspect of emotional independence is learning to manage your emotions effectively. This does not mean suppressing your feelings or pretending to be unaffected by life's ups and downs. On the contrary, emotional independence involves fully experiencing your emotions while also maintaining control over how you respond to them. For example, instead of lashing out in anger or withdrawing in sadness, you can pause, reflect, and choose a response that aligns with your goals and values. This emotional regulation is a skill that can be developed through mindfulness, self-reflection, and practices like journaling or meditation. Boundaries play a crucial role in emotional independence. When you establish healthy boundaries, you protect your emotional well-being while also respecting the autonomy of others. Boundaries are not about shutting people out or being rigid, they are about clearly communicating your needs and limits. For example, you might set a boundary around how much time and energy you are willing to invest in a relationship or establish a clear line between your responsibilities and those of others. By honoring your boundaries, you demonstrate self-respect and create space for authentic connections. One of the most liberating aspects of emotional independence is the freedom it brings from the need for constant validation. When you rely on others to affirm your worth or make you feel good about yourself, you give away your power. Emotional independence allows you to find validation within yourself. You learn to celebrate your achievements, acknowledge your growth, and comfort yourself in times of difficulty. This self-sufficiency does not mean you stop valuing the opinions of those you trust. It means you no longer depend on them for your sense of self-worth. Emotional independence also enhances your relationships. When you are emotionally self-reliant, you approach relationships from a place of abundance rather than neediness. You are able to give and receive love freely without clinging or manipulating. You can handle conflicts with maturity, respecting both your feelings and those of the other person. Emotional independence fosters healthier, more balanced connections because it removes the pressure to fill emotional voids or fix each other's problems. Instead, both parties can focus on supporting and uplifting each other from a foundation of mutual respect. Achieving emotional independence is not about isolating yourself or avoiding vulnerability. It is about creating a solid emotional foundation within yourself so that you can engage with the world authentically and courageously. This independence allows you to navigate life's challenges with resilience, celebrate its joys with gratitude, and build relationships that are based on mutual trust and respect. It empowers you to live a life that is true to your values and aspirations, free from the fear of judgment or rejection. True emotional independence is a journey, not a destination. It requires continuous self-reflection, growth, and practice. There will be moments when you falter, when old patterns resurface, or when external circumstances test your resolve. In those moments, remind yourself of the strength that lies within you.